He woke up to a familiar bump in his chest and a hoarse sob. Cold sweat covered his face, and his heart was pounding, beating out a victory march after another defeat. It was the 3,427th time. His name was Artyom, and he was tied to the wheel of his own death, like a sinner to the stone of Sisyphus. It all started on a rainy Thursday when he was in a hurry to go on a date and didn't notice the truck. The first death was swift and banal. And then he woke up in his bed an hour before the fatal exit. At first he thought he was crazy. Then he realized that he was trapped in an incredible nightmare. But 3,000 times is no longer a nightmare. This is the reality. He was dying from everything: falling bricks, sudden cardiac arrests, rabid dog bites, poisoned coffee, random gunshots, and street shootings. Life, like a perverted director, kept coming up with new and absurd endings for him. But with each death, something more than just a memory came to him. He began to see not with your eyes, but with some other part of your tortured consciousness. Here he is dying of suffocation, and a pitch-black liquid filling the room, and at the last second he notices a tall, thin figure in a dust-colored cloak in the corner. The creature had no face, just an endless vertical slit that looked like a mouth. Here he is being torn apart by an enraged passerby, and just before the black explosion of pain, Artyom sees the same figure emerging from the shadows under the Emerges bridge, and a long, pale finger crawls out of its slit mouth, pointing at him. He was dying from falling down the stairs, and he saw this shadow sliding along the banister behind him. He was freezing in a snowstorm, and he could feel her icy breath against his ear. They were strands. That's what he called them. Creatures weaving the fabric of his reality. And he was a thread that they were constantly tearing up to re-weave. He was their living canvas, their eternal experiment. At first he thought it was a punishment, then the curse. But now, after thousands of deaths, he began to understand it was something else. Observation. He began to change. His reactions became superhuman. He could look away from Snyder a second before the shot was fired, feel the poison in the wine by the slight shimmer of the glass, hear the whisper of strands behind his back. He was studying. He became a hunter in his own maze world. Once, in his 400th life, he decided not to avoid death. He went to meet her. He broke into an abandoned workshop where the ceiling was supposed to collapse. And when the beams came crashing down, he didn't jump back. Instead, he grabbed a piece of rebar, ran away, and with a scream that absorbed the fury of all his deaths, plunged it into the nearest shadow.